You make me so mad. You make me so mad. No, I don't. Uh, Nor does anyone else make you so mad 90 or more percentage of the time. Now, sometimes people are truly overstepping, and anger is absolutely the proper response to that. Um, but more often than not, we get to choose our response to stimulus. Uh, that is, if we're grown-ups. For children, for 2 years old, um, we often respond uh, without thinking, but something happens in childhood when, and if you've had kids, you know this. If your kid falls on a ball field, uh, if no one's looking or they perceive that no one's looking, your kid's likely to get back up and start running. But if they look around and see someone watching them, they might start to cry and appeal for sympathy, right? Um, Even at that age, people are trying to figure out, well, if I do it this way, then what? If I do it that way, then what? What will the people around me do? What will I get out of other people by changing uh, how I respond to different stimuli, um, which is fascinating because you see grown-ups doing it all the time, but they uh, claim they're not, which is funny. Um, you'll often see this in debates, when someone perceives they're not getting their way, they might start to, well, cry, um, or uh, or act offended, or um, start engaging in name calling, and uh, their speech rises to like spitting levels of yelling. Uh, Another thing you might see is people sarcastically just yelling, "Oh, come on!" Um, that's not an argument. "Oh, come on!" isn't an argument. Um, "Oh, really?" isn't an argument either. Um, these are all things that grown-ups try to manipulate their their conversation partners, and that's an interesting thing to watch, is to see what tricks people try in order to get what they want out of other people. And one of the tricks is throwing on other people their emotional response to things, their offensiveness, their offendedness, their outrage, their anger is all the other person's fault. Is often uh, the form of this kind of manipulation. It's you know to these people it sounds very aggressive to say something like, "Your feelings are not my responsibility." That's true. Um, it doesn't mean that I can't do something so horrible that you can't help but have a feeling about what I've done. It doesn't. I'm not trying to gaslight anyone here, but I am trying to point out that there is a spectrum, a gradation of what um, what is honesty and what is gaslighting. Um, you know, there are truth and there are lies, and there are all these grades in between, right? And I'm not responsible for your feelings is um, true, but it doesn't mean, like I said, that I can't do something so horrible that you can't help but feel something, and that is a manipulation, or it's just something like assault or verbal abuse, which does exist. You can verbally abuse people. Um, if I'm doing that, then for me to say something like, well, your feelings aren't my responsibility, is a pretty dick move on my part, right? Um, but think about this balance. What am I responsible for? What am I responsible for? What are you responsible for in this conversation? Uh, if we are being civil, or acting in good faith, if we are having words with the aim to understand each other and reach a common, mutually beneficial outcome, then how you feel about something that I say might just be you. Um, there's talk about triggers. Oh, this triggers my this triggers my that. That's a thing. Like, you can have patterns in your past that have come up over and over again, and you've got um, raw nerves around something related to that, and uh, all it takes is for someone to brush up against it, and you're responding way bigger than the offense that is alleged. That happens a lot, um, and other people aren't responsible for that. Now, if they know the trigger's there and they poke at it on purpose, that's different. But that trigger is also your responsibility. You have to work on that and heal from that, and delve into what's bugging you there, because it's unreasonable to expect the world around you to adjust to this little trigger over and over again with you learning nothing. Right? You got to learn. You got to figure it out. That's on you. That's enough. Uh, your feelings are not my responsibility. Sometimes true. You got to know that that is sometimes true. That other people's feelings aren't your responsibility, and your feelings aren't other people's responsibilities. That's often the case. Often the case. And the triggers need to be dealt with, and bad behavior that is on purpose is it's just mean gaslighting kind of stuff. You don't have to jump into no, I'm not going there. Anyway, own your stuff. Let other people own their stuff. Call people on their stuff when it's appropriate. Do it with kindness so that you're not just poking at people's scabs. Don't do that. But figure out how to own your own responses to external stimuli that are meant well. People get things wrong all the time, and it's not necessarily on purpose. And if you are triggered by it, then that trigger is kind of on you, and you got to sort your stuff out. Have a good one.